Welcome back, crew. Have we got a show for you today? We got Bitcoin that's banging into major resistance. We got Ethereum 1 week away from a supply cutting upgrade, and we got some altcoins that are building some bases, and we're seeing some structure really right before we could potentially get a big rotation. The market looks calm, but everything under the surface is saying one thing: the next major move is loading, and we're going to give you what to look out for. So, welcome back, Crypto Crew. It is your boy Tom here, bringing you the hottest in Bitcoin and crypto action. If you like what you see, give us a like. Make sure you hit subscribe. If you have not already, share us with your friends because we want to build a huge trading community, and make sure that you come on over to good old X and follow us on X, because this is where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day, because we are crypto maniacs. All right, let's get right into it. All right, first, I want to give a little quick week in review. All right, for those of you that may be new to the channel, perhaps you're not, you haven't watched any of my videos before, or for those of you that even did watch the video last week. I gave out tremendous amount of information last week, so it's really important. We do maybe a 60 to 90-second recap of the week, so you know exactly where we're coming from. Well, Bitcoin went through what? A 36% retest, right? Where's my chart that actually could show something like that? Hang on a second. Let's find something. It's not a good one. Actually, we can look at this one right here. We had a 36% dump. So far, mid-cycle retest. It was the harshest since 2023, and it did it what normally always does. It flushed leverage out, cleared everybody out, cleared out the 90,000 FOMO buyers, and it's now battling right around 91,000 right now. Right, so structurally nothing has changed in Bitcoin. Key support still sits at 80,600, and below that is the support at 78,000, right? We got 82, then we got the 80,600, and we got this major support at 78,279. Okay, so the battle sits really right now, I would think, between 83 and say 88,000 is where there's some support right now. Yesterday we gave you the support at 90,000. It held quite well. It's quite interesting to see Bitcoin holding this right now, but we do think that we could get, a flush back down one more time. We're preparing for it, and we're going to get into that. But also, we tagged the Ikimoku cloud base for the long-term trend line. Where is that where is that chart? Here it is. We brought this one up. We said, look, you can't close below this thing. Weekly close below. If we could hold it, we can resume the bull trend. If we didn't, we were going to get a deeper shakeout. So we got Q tightening running into its final window. Remember back that we said December 1st, quantitative tightening stops. We got the data flood that restarted with the government opening, right? We got the Fed rate cut odds whipping from 95 to 35 back to now above 86%. And we got Bitcoin tracking liquidity expectations tick for tick. That's what's going on. Now, institutionally in the background, we told you that there's a battle between the ETFs. We got the IBIT group, we got Morgan Stanley, Capital International, we got JP Morgan Chase after MicroStrategy right now, because they're all trying to get control of the rails. We said that. So we got basically Morgan Stanley, Capital International, Digit Asset Treasury proposal. That's going to happen in January. We've got to keep our eye on that. So to me, it looks more like noise and more like liquidity is getting redirected into products Wall Street controls and wants to monetize. That's what's happening. That's what they're trying to do right now. They're trying to get control of cryptocurrencies. Now, we got Ethereum that spent a week coiling between 2,800 and 3,100, retesting the long-term trend line that's held since 2016. And it's sitting really in a green discount band right now. We're going to get into Ethereum later, but really, things are quiet right now, but the structure points to Ethereum as the next beta play once Bitcoin finishes its business. So, all right, what's the big picture? We had a structural reset, not a cycle top, in my opinion. That's that 126,000. Like I told you, I'm not a cyclical bear, which thinks we're going into a 2.5-year bear market. No, I think that this was just, a structural top. We went over yesterday the deep resets that Amazon had. Google, like here's Google. Look at the resets Google had. Then Amazon. Here's Alphabet right there, 67% dumps, 34, 27. As you can see on the chart, those tech stocks have had tremendous amounts of retraces several times, just like Bitcoin. So Bitcoin behaves a lot like this. So, I mean, if we look at just one more, I'll give you, we look at Amazon. Look at Amazon, 95% dump at one point, 66% dump, 39% dump. It's going to like basically it's recovering from a 33% dump right now. So we talked about that. Now, if you're interested in a micro strategy, go back to the video of November 27th. I go deeply into that, and let's get into what's happening right now. Things that we have to watch out for this up and coming week that's happening that's very, very important. We got Bitcoin right now that's sitting at 91, 92,000. The battleground really happens to be at the 93. We gave you this resistance point in a past video, like a recent video. We said 93 was tough resistance. We thought we're still preparing for a double, like another dip down. Now, we're not saying it's going to go there, but right now, 93,000 is the next battlefield. We get a trend line, like re-entry could get tested if we get up above that, which is good. Sellers were stacked all week over here. Momentum either continues or we're going to stall up here and we're going to do that double dip. If we get the rejection at 93, we could see that double bottom that we were talking about. And that's basically this chart that I brought to your attention just in the last video or so. Okay, we got traffic set up. We also have, look, we have the strategy set up. We're thinking that this could potentially happen. Bitcoin dominance still, still high, right? And we thought that we're going to go over that in later on in the video. But right now, QT, quantitative tightening, ends next week. And also, Powell speaks on the same day that quantitative tightening stops. So next week, we get the official end of quantitative tightening, and we get Powell speaking on the same day. You want to talk about like volatility that's going to happen? This is a setup for tremendous volatility. So we know that with QT ending, we get liquidity returning. But when we got Powell speaking, we got a volatility event that's just gearing up. Okay. Then also we have the Fusaka upgrade that's happening, and that goes live next week. And I'm going deep into that because it's happening right as the Ethereum Bitcoin enters a macro reversal zone. So things are quiet on this Sunday. Yes, but this kind of timing rarely stays quiet for long. All right, quick shout out to our traders, okay? Even though the market was messy, our traders came in late in the game and they still pulled out a couple of clean, quick scores on Ethereum short, a chain link short. Where do I have that chain link short still up? I think I do. It's right here. Let me show you guys. Here was the chain link short. I should have just stayed short, man. Or resold this thing. Look at that thing. What a movement downward, huh? Perfect entry. I got to give them kudos for that. Smart entries. The stops were moved to break even. There was no stress. There were no hero trades. And we are going in ahead of the game into December. That's why you should check out like our free trading community. It's really cool. If you don't have any ideas, hey, sometimes we come up with some really good ones. All right. So, all right. For those of you that are still in the game, I have to say this. All right. I want to just point this out. For those of you that are still in the game, congratulations to you. You survived so far the Bitcoin wipeout. 36% down. Most people gave up. They just exited the scene. But the ones who stayed, you're entering legendary territory. And I have to say congratulations to you. Now we got RSI that basically is bottoming out. So is the fear. And history is going to reward the patient. You just got to pick your battles. Okay. And we'll help you do that. So let's get into the 2-hour chart. Let's do some of the chart work. What's going on right now? We've got Bitcoin trading right at 91,000. Let's get into our famous 2-hour chart with the Andrews pitchfork on it. All right, so as it stands right now, still everything is the same. We have a minor short-term support, a minor level at 90,000. We came within a cat's whisker of it, and we quickly recovered. The 91,231 level is a very important level. I've stressed it several times. I'll do it one more time ad nauseum, is that this was the level that we had basically broke out up from in February of 2025. Last year, okay, and we rallied up to 100 and like 3,000, 104,000. I don't really remember exactly how high the rally was. I could check my volatility sheets, but they're not even around. Um, then we broke down. Once we broke through this 91, market cascaded down to 74,000, the low, where everybody thought the world was coming to an end again. And then we had the rally up to the ultimate high of the 126 odd, right? So that 91,000 is still a very important point. We have a deeper level at 88. This is where I said that race, basically we're between say 83, 88, where like now the support sits. But the main level of support is really sitting, or the deeper level of support is really sitting at 82,000. Then there's that spike down right there, the 80,600, which is the ultimate, that gatekeeper before 78,000. Now, if we break 78,000, it's going to be ugly. I don't know. I don't think that we're going to break the 74, but I can't say for sure. So right now, Bitcoin is actually coiling, and it's very quiet. But really, it's kind of interesting because are we still on the sugar high because of what's going on with the Fed, the idea of the Fed? Now, I told you yesterday that even if they do cut rates, it's already priced in. So we could expect the marketplace to actually come off. It's a buy the rumor, sell the fact type of scenario right now because it's already priced in. It took us off the heels of last week. Now, we did call it. All right, if you go back and you look at our videos, just a pat on the back, right around 84,000, we said this marketplace could come back up and retest 93. We did say it, okay? And actually, I gave you some really good points. I said 93's resistance way before 93 got hit, and it came right off to 90. It was a $3,000 potential, so let's say 2,800 bucks potential that you could have scooped there. So the key levels right now, we have to just remember that, right? Look, Bitcoin is not back yet. It's testing the wall. That's the most important thing you got to remember. This is not time to put the party hat on, light up the cigars, and say, hey, we're going. We're not. We got some chop to deal with, okay? So we got 93,000 is the big resistance. We got, say, 87,000 is the danger line. We got 83 to 84. We got, like, basically a demand cluster in there. And then we got the deepest. I'm gonna say I'm just gonna go straight to the 80,600 is the line in the sand. And if we break that, we're going to be playing with the 78,241, which is when all the bears are going to come back on. All the bear subscribers are going to come back on and start blowing the horn and the whistle again. I told you we're going to zero. It's going to happen again, of course. All right, well, I know that's happening. But right now, as it stands, if we could get above 94 to 96, that would be kind of like we would consider a breakout zone. Now, you just don't go buy that breakout. That's not, no. You have to wait for a retrace potentially back to 91. That's why I say, if you want to see how we deploy capital and how we're patient with it, get into our pro group, okay? If we can break through that, okay, we're looking at maybe 100,000 extension, 101,000, okay? I don't see much. I don't see that happening right now. Of course, markets are dynamic; they change. But right now, Bitcoin's doing a pretty good job of holding tight. All right. So, what I would say is it's consolidation. It's not a breakout yet. So the decision in the short term is that 93K. So we are prepping for a potential retest. Showed you this chart a couple of times because we're thinking that this retest, which would not mean that it's bearish. I'm not saying it's going to be bearish. It means that we could position off of this. And I said, we have our game plan. So this is one of the things that we're looking at. Okay, we want to see a retest. We want to see what the price action looks like here. But this is what we're thinking. Okay, it means we are positioning. Smart money, we don't chase pumps. We wait for the market to come to us. And then we have to see how the market reacts in this area. And then we dominate the reload zone. This is where we're looking, okay? And we get ready for round two for the potential breakout upward. Now, we have a lot of stuff going on. We got Powell. I mean, there's so much stuff happening. We got, like I just said, Morgan Stanley going after MicroStrategy, and, it's just a mess out there. So we said that we are at the hero zero moment for Bitcoin. We are retesting the old support line. And I went over, I think even I think it was November 27th, where I talked about how the market always could, run the same ground twice. All right, so we were 2.5 years inside that channel. Now we're testing the base. It's either we're going to break upward, we're going to hold the lows and then break upward and create new highs. If we bounce up from here, it's going to be liftoff. If we break down, it's going to be maximum pain. But it will be huge, huge setup to rebuild. I mean, really, because Bitcoin is not going to go away. I said this before in previous videos. If it was going to go away, you would not have IBIT. You would not have BlackRock in this game. You would not have JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley trying to screw, strategy. You wouldn't have it. They wouldn't care. They wouldn't even be paying attention. They'd be laughing it off if they had no interest. They want to control the rails. So this is what's going on. Okay. All eyes are on this. We gotta, if we can hold the lower levels, and with all that's going on in the background that I just said, and we could flip the switch, if we could flip the switch, okay, we're looking at putting the bears on their back foot, because this is the first time that we had the bullish retest and we didn't break down. In 2021, they got us. 2021, we went bear and then we broke out upward. But it was a good drawdown, okay? And it looked like they had complete control in 2021, the bears, that is. Now, we came down, we did a bullish retest on the thing, and we bounced off of it. If we could hold that and we break through that trend line, man, are the bears going to be in for a screaming match. They're going to be crying like they haven't cried before. That's for sure, because they're going to all be chasing. If they're not enjoying the party and get ready to dance by the door, they're going to get caught if this scenario plays out. And if it's the largest, smallest word in the English language, or wherever it goes. But really, Bitcoin bounced on the retest. We could actually turn this. Now, for you gold bugs, I want to just touch on this, all right? Right here, if I look at this chart, and I want to show you this. If you think gold broke out, you ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, if you look at it, when Bitcoin breaks out of the top of this thing, it's going to obliterate gold. It's going to destroy gold. Okay, we got multi-year compression, energy peaking. If this breakout will actually define the cycle. And we're not just talking upside, we're talking super cycle. Once it occurs, is it going to occur? Yes, in my opinion. Okay, can't guarantee anything. You got to trade with your head not over it. But in my opinion, I'm going to see this day. But you have to navigate it. Remember, like I said, yesterday's lesson on Google, Microsoft. I just re-showed you again. Amazon, they all had massive drawdowns. If Bitcoin went through a decent sized drawdown just recently, but it's not over. It's not over at all. So just, be patient, pick your battles, trade with your head not over it. Don't over leverage yourself. Get into our pro group. I'll show you how to get in later on in the video. But really, you want a front row seat on how we're going to be deploying capital. That's where you want to be. All right, now let's get into Ethereum. All right. This one is really, I think, the star of the show. I really do, because it's really underrated right now. And Ethereum is still sitting right around 3,000. It's doing classic Ethereum behavior. It really has quiet strength, while Bitcoin hogs all the attention. Okay? But here's what matters most. We're 1 week away from Ethereum's major upgrade, Fusaka. Before we explain the supply impact, let me quickly define something for you, okay? And the first thing I want to define, for those of you like myself that are really, actually, I could say I'm a student of the crypto markets, because as you know, I'm an old geezer that trades FOREX. But, the first thing we have to answer is, what is a layer 2? Because this is what all Fusaka is about, is layer 2. Layer 2 is off-chain, is an off-chain network or system built on top of Ethereum. The base chain, that's what would be called the base chain. So you got to think of Ethereum as like a main highway, and like L2s as like express lanes that take the pressure off the main road. So L2s extend the base chain while higher transactions throughput by processing activity off chain and rolling it up into Ethereum. All right. So now, why this Fusaka upgrade matters? Okay. Right now, L2s basically live on Ethereum completely rent free because data storage is extremely cheap, right? Now, what's going to happen with Ethereum, and I want you to think of Ethereum as a car rental company, Hertz or Avis or whatever you got in your country. You know where you go rent a car. Okay, right now, layer twos are basically borrowing Ethereum cars for free whenever the lot isn't busy. They're just taking a car out for free. Empty parking lot, L2s take cars out without paying much of anything. So they have an advantage, right? They're not paying high fees. Now, after Fusaka, you're going to get the manager of the Avis or the Hertz come out and say, I don't care if cars are sitting here, people. Minimum rental fee is $500. I still got to insure the fleet. So they're going to become a little bit more strong with the L2s, right? So the point stays the same. Before Fusaka, L2s almost free usage on Ethereum's infrastructure, borrowing cars without paying any type of a base rate. Okay. After Fusaka, L2s must pay a minimal rental fee every time. But here's the kicker. Base fee gets burned. I'm going to say it again. The base fee gets burned. It reduces the Ethereum supply. More fees burned, lower Ethereum supply. Bullish, long-term mechanics. That is the key to this whole thing. L2s will owe Ethereum a minimum fee always and gets burned immediately. Again, burned equals supply reduced. Lower supply, steady demand, price goes up. But this isn't a one-day moon event, okay? That's not going to happen, okay? It's a slow burn. It's a compounding effect. You know, if you look at like it happened before, just like merge, the impact builds over months, not hours. So long term, Fusaka could remove millions of dollars of Ethereum from circulation. And that's what we're talking about here. That's why we're thinking Ethereum is going to 10,000. Okay? That's just this is our opinion. You know, please leave some comments for us. Tell us you think differently. And that's fine. All right. So right now, Ethereum, right now, main support, 2,850. Major support, 2,600. Resistance, 3,100. Breakout, 3,600. So we got some time, you know, but you don't have long, you know. We also have the Ethereum, Bitcoin in a macro reversal zone too, right? So, and we got Bitcoin dominance that rolled over, and we're going to get into that in a second, okay? But right now, Ethereum is coiling; it's not collapsing. And next week's timing lines up perfectly. We got early signs. We got price that's tight, that's coiling tight. RSI already broke out, right? Moves like this don't stay quiet for long. Price lags, RSI leads. If Ethereum follows, 3,400 is the next test. Okay, that's the next test. Now, like I said, it's not going to be a one-time moon event with Fusaka. Okay, it's going to build up over time. Now, if we look at Bitcoin, if we look at Ethereum Bitcoin, which I keep mentioning, so finally I got a chart for it right here we can look at. We got Ethereum versus Bitcoin, right? And basically, it's just flashed the same like historic signal. Every Ethereum run started with the reclaim of the 50 EMA. We just did it again. So we had a bullish retest here, and now it's game on. Okay, alt season really could be closer than even I think. I've been saying I don't think we're going to get it like until actually the new year. I may be wrong with it because with the Fusaka upgrade, okay, Ethereum really the next chapter in Ethereum actually begins. That's the main story. So we're thinking we're getting the beginning of the new chapter. Okay, we had multi-year accumulation. Now remember, We went from $90 to 4,800. Okay. Now, right now we at the bottom at 1350. Okay, it's make or break. Your exit plan matters more than ever because where are we going? We're thinking we're going at 10,000 and potentially higher. Okay, so we are just, Fusaka is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I can't stress it enough. I don't know if anybody else is talking about it like we're talking about it, but as always, we're cutting edge anyway. So they generally copy good old Tom anyway. So we just got to keep this in mind. If we look at this next chart, okay, Ethereum is really, this is really the most underrated catalyst of Q4. Like I said, man, Ethereum is like the star of the show. Okay, when we had the Petra upgrade, we had a 58% pump. Fusaka is actually going to be taking Ethereum out of the marketplace. Okay, this is something, guys, gals, come on, think about this. Does it make any kind of sense? That this thing is going to really rally. Now, of course, you got to pick your points. I'm not saying to go mortgage the house and buy Ethereum. I'm not. I'm saying that you should really come into our pro group. And as I'm speaking about it right now, I'm going to show you how to do it. It's really, really simple. Okay, if you want to see how we deploy capital, come on over right here in the description of our YouTube. You click this link right there, we're taken over to our free Telegram trading community. Free Telegram trading community. Okay, you got to say that a few times. People think we're trying to make you pay a fee. We're not. Okay, we drop insane alpha trading opportunities just like Chainlink and Ethereum. As many times as we see the setups. Okay, we don't force anything. No hero trades in our group. But hey, if you want to go it alone, we offer 2 outstanding brokers that you could choose from through our links with WeX, low fees, fast execution. You get yourself basically no fees for life right now. BTCC, all right? Again, low fees, fast execution. They're giving a $500 giveaway. So if you have a small account, $1,000 account, you get a 50% increase in your account right there. But I really suggest that you join our pro trading community. This is where all the fun is. Okay, get involved. You can make some friends for life. So that's how you get into our pro group. But again, I just want to come back over to Ethereum and stress with this Fusaka upgrade that it is the most underrated catalyst of Q4. Okay, Ethereum upgrade, Fusaka drops December 3rd. So put that on your calendar so you can start to watch Ethereum get wiped out of the marketplace from just fees being burned off, which is going to be cool. You got faster blocks, you got cheaper gas, you got smarter scaling. Petra triggered 58% move. Fusaka is built to launch harder. Price lags, always fundamentals, okay, but it's not going to be for long. So you got to get ready because I think Ethereum is going to be after Bitcoin calms down, all this nonsense gets through, then Ethereum is just taking off, in our opinion. All right, but you got to trade with your head nut over it. All right, let's look at Bitcoin dominance. Let's talk about that. You got Bitcoin dominance that broke out of the ascending wedge. Okay, it's broken. This is a classic trigger before alt rallies. Now, we warned you about this. We're thinking that dominance has to come back up one more time. So look, this is the theory, okay? And it's just our theory, all right? Because you got to have a game plan. We're thinking that we're going to get that potential pump back downward in Bitcoin, where we're going to get that move down. Where is that stupid chart? Getting this double bottom potentially. Okay, this is what we're thinking. We're going to get a rejection up at the 96. Powell's going to say something stupid or something's going to come out. It's going to make Bitcoin come back down. Okay, where dominance is going to start to fall. And people are going to think, ooh, alt season, right? No, because we're also thinking then Bitcoin's going to rip back upward and start its next leg. Again, this is our theory, all right? We have to have, as traders, we have to have ideas of what could happen. We don't believe in the ideas. In other words, we're not going to bet the farm, like saying we are right and this is what's going to happen. No, we need to have like a thesis. And then we need to watch what happens if the market either does this or it doesn't do this. Let's say Bitcoin all of a sudden takes off right now and starts breaking up to 106,000. Okay, well then we're gonna have to readjust this thesis. Perhaps we're gonna get a push instead back down to 91, and then a retest. And of course, I'm just making this up because nobody knows the future. All right, but we are well prepared for what could potentially happen. Right, so We got Bitcoin that collapsed out of the wedge, but just be weary of it, okay? It's not, we're still expecting dominance to come back up to that 60 level, even potentially 61. Now, why? Remember what we said in the last video. Let's see if I can find my other chart for you guys. Where is it? Fiddling around. Is this my chart? No, that's, yeah, this is my chart. Right here, the hero zero. We're up against this trend line. Okay, so we're expecting that it's going to actually be a little bit difficult to break straight through. We said in order for us to get through this trend line again, the old support that has now become resistance, we need continuous volume up above 95,000. Not just a spike in volume, because that would be short covering. We need continuous volume occurring between 95 and 98 or 93. Of course, it's going to change, but that's what we need. So if that starts to happen, we should potentially get Bitcoin dominance to spike back up again if we get that potential double bottom. So there's a lot of ifs here, but that's what we're about. We're traders and we try to pick our battles, right? So caution, because we may get the head fake dip downward in dominance and then a burst upward only to start the real move for altcoins. That's just our take on things. So you got to follow liquidity in altcoins. You got to follow the liquidity. So what I'm saying right now in altcoins are still in setup mode. They're not in breakout mode yet. You got total 3 that's basing. You got US dollar dominance hitting the resistance level, as we've been pointing out in our past videos. Bitcoin dominance is stable. It's not rising right now, but it's kind of stable. It's holding tight right now. A few alts are showing strength. You got SUI, you got XRP, you got Bonk, you got CAS, but most mid caps are still building structure. And this is a point where you got to pick good utilities, okay? And that's why I say get into our pro group, right? I don't want to beat it to death. But right now, what we're seeing is alts versus Bitcoin. Like I said, you got to follow the liquidity. Every time the Fed turns the printer back on, breakouts occur. Alts rip past Bitcoin. And, quantitative tightening is ending December 1st. History doesn't repeat, it rotates, right? So you got to be positioned for it. And it's coming up soon, folks. It's coming up soon. All right, so just a real quick recap before we close it all down for you guys. Remember, we got Bitcoin right now that is in a tight consolidation. It's actually coiling. It's holding up pretty well. Support right now, short term, 90,000. Deeper support sits at, say, 87,005. Resistance, 93. Break 93 to 96. Breakout really occurs if we could sustain volume and pump up above 96 and then break up through 100. But that's a little bit ways off. You got Ethereum, the upgrade. Don't forget about the Fusaka upgrade. You can't forget about it. It is the most underrated upgrade of this quarter for sure. All right, make sure that you come on over to X. You follow us on X, where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day. So what do you got to do? Well, you got to really seriously think about joining our pro community. Okay, we got some announcements coming up that are going to be really cool, really exciting, and I'm biting my tongue not to say them right now. What else you got to do? Well, you got to trade with your head, not over it. You got to do your own research. As you know, I am not a financial advisor. I'm a trader just like you. And also, as a short-term trader, on this Sunday, you got to enjoy the party, but dance near the door. I'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe, stay profitable, and make sure you don't overtrade. Cheers.